Hey everyone. For this week's discussion, I wanted to evaluate whether physical activity and exercise have truly improved since their inception and what that could mean for public health today. Now, to answer this question, I think it's more important to first define what we mean by inception of physical activity and exercise. Now, humans have always been physically active out of necessity. Early societies depended on movement for survival through stuff like hunting, farming, gathering, and transportation. However, structured exercise, meaning planned, repetitive physical activity performed to improve health or physical performance, can be traced back thousands of years. Ancient civilizations such as Greece and Rome recognized the value of physical training, especially for stuff like military readiness and athletic competition. The ancient Olympic Games are one of the earliest examples of organized exercise being used to improve physical performance. Now, over time, our reasons for exercising have shifted. What began as a necessity for survival evolved into a means of improving athletic performance. And today, exercise is recognized as one of the most effective tools for preventing chronic disease and improving quality of life. Now, one of the biggest improvements over time has been our scientific understanding of exercise itself. Early recommendations focus primarily on athletic performance, while today's guidelines are supported by decades of research in physiology, epidemiology, and public health. Organizations such as the World Health Organization and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services now recommend that adults perform at least 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity each week, along with muscle strengthening activities on at least 2 days per week. Now, these recommendations are based on strong evidence showing that regular physical activity reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, certain cancers, depression, and premature mortality. Now, from a scientific perspective, I think there is no question that exercise has improved. We know far more about resistance training, aerobic exercise, recovery, injury prevention, and behavior change than we did even 20 years ago. Exercise prescriptions can now be individualized based on stuff like age, health status, chronic disease risk, and just personal goals. However, I don't think increased knowledge has automatically translated into healthier populations. Now, despite widespread public awareness about the benefits of exercise, physical inactivity remains one of the leading modifiable risk factors for chronic disease. Modern lifestyles have become increasingly sedentary due to office jobs, technology, and just increased screen time overall. According to the CDC, many adults still fail to meet the recommended physical activity guidelines, and chronic diseases such as obesity, hypertension, and type 2 diabetes continue to affect a large percentage of the U.S. population. Now, working as a personal trainer has really reinforced this idea for me. Most of my clients are 35 to 55, and although I've also worked with older adults in their 70s, very few of them are unaware that exercise is important. Instead, the biggest challenge is consistently fitting physical activity into their daily lives while balancing work, family responsibilities, stress, and nutrition. I've also noticed that poor nutrition habits, especially consuming excessive calories through alcohol and other sugary beverages like soda, often become a larger obstacle than just doing the exercise itself. Now, this highlights one of the biggest lessons public health has learned over time. Simply educating people about exercise is usually not enough to create lasting behavior change. Long-term success depends on making healthy choices realistic, accessible, and sustainable. I do think there have been meaningful improvements in public awareness and accessibility. There are more community recreation centers, walking trails, youth sport programs, workplace wellness initiatives, online fitness resources, and wearable technologies than ever before. These tools have made exercise more available to many people and have expanded opportunities for participation. At the same time, these improvements have not been experienced equally across all populations. Individuals with lower incomes, limited healthcare access, disabilities, or those living in neighborhoods without safe places to be active are still facing significant barriers. Geographic location, education, and socioeconomic status continue to influence opportunities for physical activity. This reminds us that improving public health requires more than encouraging individuals to exercise. It also requires creating environments that support those healthy behaviors. Overall, I would argue that physical activity and exercise have absolutely improved from a scientific and clinical standpoint. We have stronger evidence, better exercise guidelines, improved programming, and a much deeper understanding of how movement benefits nearly every body system. However, I do not think that we've improved to the same extent in helping populations consistently adopt this active lifestyle. Public health success should not be only measured by how much we know about exercise, but also how effectively that knowledge is translated into everyday behavior. Moving forward, I believe the greatest opportunity is not discovering new forms of exercise, but finding better ways to help people maintain physical activity throughout their lives. As someone working directly with clients, I have found that small, sustainable habits are often far more successful than pursuing perfection. If we can combine evidence-based exercise recommendations with practical behavior change strategies, I think we'll see even greater improvements in public health over the coming decades. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing everyone else's perspectives.